Welcome back, friends. Be part 5 of our 1974 Honda CB450 restoration project. As you can tell, my girlfriend's missing her front end here. Look, Ma, no forks. Now there's a reason for that. Kept hearing this banging going on every time I'd hit any kind of bump, and I thought it was something underneath the tank, like maybe a coil coming loose or something. You know, screw backing out of its mount or something, but that wasn't it. And we determined after much test riding that it was up here in the forks. So this is something that's going to have to be rebuilt anyway. We weren't planning on doing it right now, but once again, just like our drivetrain project we did last week where we replaced the sprockets in the chain, this is out of necessity because we basically had no front suspension. We only had forks one of the forks working. So we had to get it apart anyway. This is really cheap. You can do this yourself. Once you get the front wheel off, get your fender off, get the brake caliper off, all there is 2 bolts that hold this on. This one here and this one here. Now you're probably going to have to, you know, twist and hit at the same time with the dead blow hammer on the top to get this loose. In my case, these forks appeared never to have been off this bike, and it's pretty common for some rust and corrosion to be going on those upper fork tubes. So once you get them out, you can get them cleaned up and they'll be a lot easier to put back in. So let me show you what we have. Okay, as you can see, we've got our forks here on the table. I've got one completely apart and one still assembled. Just to let you know, there's not a whole lot of parts involved in this. Anybody can do it. Yes, you can do it too, Alice. You just got your lower fork tube, you've got a seal that goes in the top, snap ring holds it in. This is your damper assembly. Your spring and everything is attached. It's all in one piece. It comes out in one piece. It goes in one piece. It won't go in but one way, so you can't screw it up even if you try. You got your upper fork tube. You got your top cap threads in the top, and then you've got a bolt that holds the damper in the bottom of the lower. That's all there is to it. No special tools required here, really, outside of maybe some snap ring pliers. And if you're working on motorcycles, you're going to need, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 sets of good snap ring pliers. You've got that size snap ring here on your motorcycle. You're going to have this size snap ring on your rear axle. You're going to have this size snap ring, you know, in the motor department. So you might as well just go ahead and buy you some decent snap ring pliers and have them ready. So you're going to need a 22 for this top cap bolt. You're going to need a 10 millimeter to drain your fluid. You're going to need this, I believe it's a 6 millimeter, don't quote me on that, but a socket to take this Allen head bolt out of the lower. And you're going to need a decent screwdriver to help you pry that seal out. And you're going to need an oversized socket, or as we say in Texas, a precision seal installation tool. That's all. You're going to need to buy you a seal set from the Honda shop or the internet. Either way, it's going to cost you $10 or $11. You're going to need to buy a quart of fluid, fork fluid, but that's going to be about 20 bucks. So, you know, we're talking 30 bucks to completely overhaul your front forks. First thing you're going to want to do is, while you still have it on the bike actually, is go ahead and get your 10 millimeter and drain your fork fluid. Now have a bucket ready, and if you have a partner there to help you, if not, you're going to want to maybe hang the bucket on the side of the fork at an angle, and you're going to want to slowly, and I'm talking about very, very slowly, cycle that fork down, and you're going to get about 5.5 ounces of fluid out. But if you cycle it too fast, it's going to shoot across, you know, the room 3 or 4 feet. This stuff is smelly and nasty and old, and if you have that bucket at the ready, you'll be good to go on that. Once you think you've got as much fluid as you're going to get out, put the bolt back in, and because otherwise it's going to drip all over everything else you're working on, and that's not any fun. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is start your disassembly. And here with our completed one, or one that's actually still assembled, what I do is I snap these top bolts loose while it's still in the triple tree. That acts as your third hand to help you here with it. And don't worry, this thing is not like an old Harley or something where you do this on a Harley or some of these other bikes, and that thing is going to come, spring is going to come flying out, take your head off and everything. You don't have to worry about that with this. This isn't under any pressure, okay? This is threaded inside and outside, threads inside the tube, and threads onto the top of the damper. That's what keeps it centered in here. Take the cap off, and then you're going to have your lower bolt down here. You're going to take your Allen socket. Now here's where you might need something a little special. Yeah, can you snap this thing loose with a ratchet, regular 3/8 ratchet? Sure you can, but the problem is it's not that it's in there so tight, it's that this damper assembly, there's what it's threaded into, it's not really held on to anything, so it'll just twist and turn. So a lot of times you're not able to completely snap that free. If you have something like a 3/8 drive air impact, where you can get a quick, sharp snap to this bolt, pop it loose, then you should be good to go. After that, you are free to slide the upper out and put that in a drain pan you're going to have close by, of course, because there's going to be some oil around here. This is your complete damper assembly. It all comes out in one piece. Nothing's going to go flying or falling apart here. Pull it out, put it in the parts washer or wherever so it's not oily. Then you're going to have to disassemble the rest of this, which is just your snap ring. Put your hand over it so it doesn't go flying out all over the place or hit you in the eye. Comes out pretty easy. Then you're going to need the screwdriver. One thing you might need is a piece of rubber or something so you don't damage the other side of your tube while you're trying to get this out. It comes out pretty easy. Just work your way around. There it is. This will probably have some fluid still in it too. Throw it in the parts washer, throw it in your bucket. Just have it ready to go. Now, someone was saying, well, what was all that noise you were talking about you had on your bike? Well, let me show you. Probably should have done it while we still had it together. But basically what it was when this is all together, like so, and I took the top cap off. The first thing I did was take this off, and I looked under there, and this is the nut that holds your spring onto your damper assembly. This nut had unthreaded itself and it was just laying here on the top, just bouncing around. At the same time, that means my spring was just bouncing around, was under no pressure at all. And so not only was this making a hell of a noise, but I had absolutely no suspension in one fork. Easy fix. All I had to do was screw this right back down on there, put the cap back on, problem solved. Easy peasy. But since we wanted to overhaul these anyway, hey, no better time than the present to do it. So that's what we did. Okay. You want to get all this stuff cleaned up in your parts washer. If you don't have a parts washer, you know, drain pan with some brake parts cleaner. I would not suggest using carburetor cleaner because carburetor cleaner and seals, they no like each other. Your seals will be junk if you get the carburetor cleaner on. So get them all cleaned up, blow it out with some compressed air, get them as dry as you possibly can because you don't want any type of solvents or cleaner or anything contaminating your fresh, happy, clean, new fork fluid. Not to mention, this stuff's about 20 bucks a bottle, so you don't want that to happen. Talking about fluid, let's touch on that for just a minute. If you consult, say, the Climber manual there, or if you check out the 1974 Honda service manual, it's going to tell you really not a whole lot of anything. It's going to say, it's not going to tell you what weight, it's not going to tell you what brand, and it barely tells you how much. It says 155 to 165 cc's of automatic transmission fluid. It doesn't say Dextron 2, say for Chevrolets, or the Ford fluid, just says automatic transmission fluid. Well, one thing that kind of gnaws at me a little bit, hey, is it 155 or 165? Why don't you just tell us, which one is it? And automatic transmission fluid, back in the day, it served a lot of purposes, but now, 40 years later, we have great advancements in fluids and lubricants and hydraulic fluids and everything like that. So now, my philosophy is, I think anybody should be, engine oil goes in engines, transmission fluid goes in transmissions, hydraulic fluid goes in hydraulics, and fork oil goes in forks. So I had to figure out, well, what weight am I going to use? Well, after talking to a lot of people, general consensus was 7 to 10. 7 to 10 weight will be just fine. But more importantly, people said, make sure whatever you get, it doesn't matter what brand, that it's built for conventional forks. Not inverted forks, not racing forks, conventional forks. I didn't really quiz them about that, but I'm sure it has something to do with the anti-foaming characteristics of the fluid or something, I don't know. But anyway, we've got the Pro Honda suspension fluid for forks. This is a 10 weight, and if you'll notice right there, it says designed for use with standard forks. So I'm good to go on that. My little measuring cup here, so make sure I get my 155 to 165 cc's, and you're ready to put this thing back together. If you want some new fork gators, this is the time to get them. You can get these. These happen to be aftermarket ones. OEMs are double the price, say about 40 bucks. I kind of wish I would have gotten the OEM ones now, because these are just a little lighter, but they'll be okay for what we're doing. This bike's not going to see any rain, not going to see any sun really, except when I'm riding it. It'll be garage kept, so I think it'll be okay for our purposes. Okay, to put this thing back together, really pretty simple. All you have to do, and you want this stuff to be clean as a baby's butt. So make sure you get all the old fluid out, get some rags down in there, get it all nice and clean. You're going to take your seal and some of your fork fluid. Going to lube the outside and the inside. Make sure you get it on that lip. Here's your precision seal driving tool, also known here in Texas as a oversized socket. Drive that down in there. Be very careful. This one, there you go. We'll get it kind of straight there. We're not going to jam it all the way down there. And then your snap ring is going to go on top. That's all there is to it. Ready to go with this. Next, you'll want to take some fork fluid, get it around this. See how it's kind of beveled there? And ever so gently, work it down through your seal. Put it in the bottom. It'll rest right there in the bottom. Then you can take your upper fork tube. Make sure there's no nicks or dirt or anything on this tube. It's got to be perfect. Don't get a grinding wheel, sandpaper, emery cloth, anything anywhere around this lower part of this upper, because this slides up and down the seal. You can even see how beveled and smooth this hole has been from the factory to make sure that it doesn't nick the seal. Because if you nick the seal, you're going to have a leak. It's going to be an oily mess. So just make sure you put these somewhere that they're not going to fall and hit the floor, get kicked, or anything like that. Then all you do, simply slide her down like that. It's going to come out the top like that. At this point, I go ahead and put in my lower bolt here. And the reason is because I still want to be able to hold on to the top here and kind of work that damper assembly around this screw or this bolt, your Allen head bolt. Go ahead and tighten it up with your ratchet or your impact, whichever you want to do. come up to about here. And you can do one of two things at this point. You can go ahead and put your new fluid in, or you can wait till you get on the bike to do that, but I prefer to do it when you have it right here. Go ahead and put your fluid in, and then screw your top cat bolt back on. Make sure that O-ring is good too on top here, so you don't have any leaks. That's all there is to it, girlfriends. I told you even you could do this. I mean, hell, you know, Ray Charles with Stevie Wonder handing him tools could do this. It's not a big project. Get them back on your bike and you're ready to go. Now, reinstallation on the bike, of course you're going to put your fork gator on there too, but let me show you something here, and you're going to experience this, and don't freak out when you see it, because here's where it was clamped, here and here. You're going to see probably some rust or pitting. In this case, we have some extremely bad pitting here. I have cleaned it off with a wire wheel, got it all nice and cleaned up, and then take some emery cloth, go around the inside of your triple trees up there, get everything nice and clean. So this will slip back up into those trees nice and easy. But that's just part of these old Hondas. That water just accumulates there, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Fortunately, these are covered up by the headlight brackets. Not a big deal. Now, the Cafe bike over there, we have a problem with it because it's not going to have the standard headlight brackets, and this is going to show. So when we take those forks apart, I hope they're not near as bad as these. So there you are, complete rebuild. You saw how long that took. I would imagine start to finish, once you have your bike up on the center stand on a Saturday afternoon, if you're working by yourself, hour and a half. I don't know. If you got a parts washer and all that kind of stuff, it just shouldn't take any longer than that. If you don't have a parts washer, maybe a little longer, but it's a real easy thing. I'd encourage you to do it yourself. Don't be scared. You can even check your climber manual here. You can see, get rid of that stuff down there. There are not many parts to this. Even a moron can do it, because I just showed you. Anyway, hope you guys learned something. Try to do this yourself. Save yourself some money. Have fun doing it. Take pride of ownership and knowing that you did something, rather than pay 80 bucks an hour for the Honda shop to do it. So we got more videos coming. I hope you liked this one. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on our next project on our Honda CB450 restoration. You guys take care. We'll see you down the road. Adios.